Russian moan.
Hey,
I can feel every pixel. I can feel every pixel on you over there.
Wow, you know what? At least the face is good. That means you may also be seeing some grays in there too, DK. Am I getting old, or which one is it?
No play for Mr. Gray, I believe is how it goes here. We've got the wrong thing up and everything. Look, I had the wrong banner up on the show here. It's Monday, man. We're just trying to get moving here, you know, Mo?
But we got answers, DK. We got answers, baby. Let's rock, DK.
He does have answers, everybody. He's Ramon Foster. He's in Hendersonville, Tennessee. I'm Dejan Kovacevic in downtown Pittsburgh from DK Pittsburgh Sports. And, Moan, we're going to talk about Bud Dupree for real here. Yeah. Bud did sign over the weekend after our last show a 1 year, $5 million with the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Steelers don't like to do guys for more than a year.
Yeah,
in that, I'm sorry, not for just 1 year in that circumstance. I don't get that exactly. You don't want to do prove it contracts? Why?
Because if they prove themselves right, then you get them for the next year. That's why you're held to a contract if that's the case. I talked to Bud about an hour or so after all the news had broken down, and I hit him up with the side eye. I was like, man, congratulations. Didn't even want to go into the idea. He's like, hey, Mo, I'm going to call you after I work out. So I talked to him immediately as he was leaving out as his workout this past Friday. And I wanted to do the show. I said, no, I knew you had stuff going on. I did too. But in my conversation with Bud, it was this. It was as someone reported earlier. He said that he only wanted to do a 1 year in Pittsburgh, wanted to do a 2 year. That's how it broke down. And I asked him, too. I was like, man, I don't have to talk about this if you don't want me to, because you know how I am with my former teammates. I like to respect our relationship as teammates and not me being on the media side. Right. So with that being said, he's like, no, go ahead. Because he said this. He said this time around on a different deal, smaller deal, was probably harder than his big deal he got. And I was like, what do you mean, bud? He's like, Mo, I know what Pittsburgh is. He's like, I know they want me there. He's like, I know what I'm getting myself into. He said, this was probably the hardest decision I've had to make. And to like telling them no, he was like, because I want to be able to just do 1 year. Pittsburgh wanted to do a multiple year, meaning 2 years. He said, but I want to be able to have a good year and also hit the market again. And I say, you know what? I get it. And he said, look, he talked to Coach T. He talked to Omar numerous times. He talked to even Mr. Rooney, and everything and everybody was on the same board. And he went on to say, it's by far the hardest negotiating I've ever had to do. Is like tell Pittsburgh no.
Well, this brings up a couple of interesting things within it. Here's what I see, Moan. I see a situation where he obviously got the clean bill of health. Otherwise, nobody's handing him $5, much less $5 million.
Exactly.
Okay. I also see something where the Steelers also had the same mindset. They felt he was healthy and ready to go. Otherwise, they wouldn't offer 2 years instead of 1. Now, if you're looking at it from Bud's standpoint, though, he's just believing in himself, isn't he? He's saying, I'm 30 years old. I get that part, but I know I'm going to outperform this contract, and I know there's going to be a line outside the door waiting for me.
Yes. And DK, I want to say this right here. This back here, the Big Al loves Hines 57. I do too. Okay, Big Al. We had a conversation about this, about Alex Highsmith. Okay, and this is what he said. He told him, he was just like, well, this is my perception of what happened to before we got into what they talked about in a sense. Bud was of the mindset that he was going to be a security blanket for Alex probably too. Meaning that as players, they can negotiate against you as one to another. Bud older. Bud becomes more productive. Guess what, Alex? We don't have to sign you for this. We got Bud. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that side of it too, to whereas now, as far as fair market value for Alex and his deal, it kind of get knocked a little bit because there's a security blanket of Bud had he signed in Pittsburgh. But it was this without me even asking him. He said after the fact, DK, he told him, Alex, go kill it. Because I think he understood the I guess the way they could box him in. And now the way you got to look at it is they either got to go get a different veteran or they got to go in the draft a little bit for Alex as far as if he doesn't have the year that he's looking forward to. But it's really cool to hear him. And I didn't even ask him. He said he texted Alex, hey, go get him. Go get him this year. So yeah. I'm hoping, and you know what that means too, DK.
Oh, I do. And he's saying, listen, you have them. Okay, you're in control here. Whereas if Bud comes into the picture and Bud performs to the level that you and I have been saying for a while, we believe that he can.
Yep.
Then it's a different picture. I happen to believe, okay, and this is totally a moot point now, but this is just fun. I happen to believe that if Bud had come in, I don't think he would have come in as a designated number 3.
No. Okay. It's tough too, isn't it?
He's still Bud, okay? And with all due respect here to Alex and his 14.5 sacks, most of those sacks and most of that damage came when TJ Watt was out there, and he was not anywhere near that factor when Bud was, when
TJ
wasn't, okay? Yeah. And that right there, just I keep feeling like Alex still has more to prove. And look, if that makes him mad, okay, I'm sorry, okay? I just didn't see a snap after snap after snap impact the way you see with TJ and the way you saw with the peak version of Bud, meaning right before he left for Nashville. So if he comes in as a competitor, I just said that.
Yeah.
But if Bud comes into Latrobe as a competitor with Highsmith and beats him out, just saying, okay?
Okay, and you know what this is? History repeating himself. And you want to know why? There's somebody else that left and went back and came and actually pushed a young guy out. That was James Harrison.
Oh,
you remember
him
and Jarvis Jones situation?
There went Jarvis.
Why? Because James, come on,
James a better football player.
Come on. So that was that on that though too, man. With the idea that, well, look, we know where we're getting. Everybody and their mom. I saw somebody call Bud Dud a second ago. I'm like, okay, you say what you want to. The dude brought it, even if his numbers didn't match.
Every snap made an impact.
And it was the thing about even if his sack numbers didn't match that, the effect was there. Where the hell are you going to go when Bud is over here stopping the run? You got to funnel right to TJ.
Got to go right to him.
You've even said that. You've asked TJ about this. TJ, what did Bud mean to you?
No. It's not that I asked TJ about it. He brought it up with me repeatedly. He would say, you're not giving enough credit to Bud, the impact that Bud is having on my career. Okay? Yes. And this was before Bud's big breakout year, the last year before signing the contract in Nashville. This is a player, again, you can bring the same thing up with Cam Hayward, with any of the interior guys, and they'll tell you the same thing, that the impact that Bud had was so much greater than what showed up on a stats sheet. This is stuff that requires real live film work and or communicating with the players.
I'll say this too. I saw this come up. Hey, Mon, we had confidence you were going to bring in, but I was going to, and we'll still get the interview here on this page, okay? Bud's really good in his public speaking now, a whole lot better than he was, but this is what he also said. So I can do the 1 year. My home's in Georgia. The practice facility is 36 minutes away. My kids get to stay in their home. My wife and my lady get to stay in their home also. We get this for a year, and we'll see what happens. I know this for a fact. Another team up north called him. And he said, nah, I won't do it. I love y'all team, but I can't do it because I need this to be the place that I'm at for this year. My family be comfortable, me get my career back to where I was as far as health and overall output of his play too. So he's in a good spot for what he thinks is a good prove a year for himself in his next contract.
Well, I don't know how anybody would root against him in Atlanta, meaning who's following the Steelers, because this is a really good football player, a really good dude, and he's got a chance they call them prove-it contracts for a reason, okay? He has to go and get it done. And at the same time, Moan, the Steelers have to go get it done still to bolster that position because they don't even have a Malik Reed right now.
No, they
don't have a 3.
And I'll say this too. I see some draft stuff coming up too, DK, as far as that goes. We'll get there for sure. But I think it proves what it actually takes and what they're looking for when it comes down to playing in that Pittsburgh defense too. Like Malik Reed came with a bunch of fanfare, did he not? Mm-hmm. And it didn't result to anything.
Nothing. 0. He had a nice little finish there for the Broncos the previous year. He put up some numbers as well, but my goodness, was he a non-thing here.
Yeah, he was. And it's beautiful playing in Pittsburgh, but there's a lot that comes along with it. And I'm not trying to make it seem like we're the end-all, be-all of organization because, heck, we hadn't won a Super Bowl since 2009, okay?
All that time.
So it's been a long time. But when
it's
you
not
build
a long time for
I mean, it's not for
You've lost all perspective.
But in Pittsburgh, DK,
I know it's a long time. It's a long time. When we come back on the Ramon Foster Show, it'll be the only segment that in fact matters.
It's all of Hey Moan.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
And this portion of the Ramon Foster Show, as promised, is brought to you by the Get-Go Cafe and Market, where quality is at the core of every menu item. 3 expert chefs fine-tune every detail so that every sub, burger, salad, wrap, drink, and app is crafted for craveability. Order your favorite entry at the Get-Go Cafe and Market today. Better believe it. By the way, somebody on the Get-Go social media account today made a reference to having a case of the Mondays. Now, anybody who makes an Office Space reference is okay by me in any walk of life. So kudos here, a shout out from the top step to whoever came up with case of the Mondays.
That Monday can jump on you, man. But we're off and running here today, man. It's after 12 o'clock. Everybody got to have a coffee by now, DK.
Yeah, Boomer says Moan started drinking the same juice the fans drink. LOL.
I won't front, Boomer. I did, man. I'm ready for us to win this freaking Super Bowl in some kind of capacity. I'll say this. I'm ready for us to get past the first round, and even I'm from the era in which we didn't. So I'm longing for that, okay? So, yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Steeler Girl gets us started with this segment. She says, hey, Moan and DK, do you think the Steelers make any more free agency moves before the draft?
Anymore, man. It's draft night can be iffy and interesting depending on what other teams want to do with their veteran guys, but I don't know if there'll be another free agent signing. If they are at this point, if I'm not mistaken, it was one on Friday or Thursday, and you just pretty much are getting camp bodies / other prove it type guys. Like, I wish I could tell you who's on the free agent market right now, and I can't because most of the guys that you know and love are actually already signed and in camps already.
Yeah, I think you're going to see more signings like the one that we just saw today. The Steelers, actually just about an hour ago, it was a special teams guy, and that's that's what you've got to fill those spots too. Okay, those are players. Those are guys that make your 53-man, or at least seriously challenge for your 53-man. And for the most part, you don't want that to be draft picks.
Right? Exactly. And that's the thing too. Draft night, you're giving up your own capital for a guy that's got to be ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And fit your team chemistry and whatnot. So I think we're settled in. We're under 2 weeks right now, DK, with the draft.
Yeah, I think it's just 10 days.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm ready for it. This has been a very interesting offseason for a lot of teams when it comes down to who's picking who and what. I saw something early today where the quarterback from Georgia, Stetson Bennett, was reported as moving up the draft boards. I'm like, from where? Undrafted to a 6th rounder? Like, come on, man. What are we doing? I'm tired of all the lies, man.
Well, speaking of which, Jim comes in and says, hey, Moan, do any of these endless crazy trade rumors ever actually happen?
Nah, because the ones that are seriously talking about trades aren't. They're calling each other. and they're negotiating on the phone. They're actually making it happen with words and actual stuff written down on the paper. These rumors that you're getting from social media accounts, I don't care if it is Schefter or whoever else right now, it's not real until they fully report the deal is being done. This time of the year, everybody's trying to find a leg up or trying to see who's positioning where. I will say this. There may be some movement because it seems as far as Vegas odds go now as they stand, Bryce Young is the number 1 overall draft pick to Carolina. And rumors are, now here I am talking about the rumor mill, rumors are that the Texans aren't interested in anybody else at quarterback but Bryce Young. Now, with that being the case, if that's true, they have the opportunity to back, and they just got DeMeco Ryans as a head coach. So he may go after the defensive guy instead of trying to find a quarterback and just wait and win with defense. So we'll see at this point, man. But until it's fully reported as a done deal, no, I don't believe it.
Yeah, I hate to be a broken record on this stuff, but, you mentioned Schefter, and there are other people who do this for a living.
Yeah.
Okay, Schefter is one of them. There's probably about 10 or 12 of them who only do this for a living. And by that, I mean, they're not, people ask sometimes, like, why don't the local reporters get all these things? The local reporters have to cover the stuff that's happening right in front of them. They have to cover actual events. Okay.
Yeah.
These guys, you have to understand, the Schefter types, for anybody who doesn't know this, that is the only thing they do. They are on the phone with agents all day long and team executives. Those of us who are here are here. We're actually doing stuff. We're in the locker room talking to Ramon. So it's a very different vibe. People, please, some of the stupidity, including just today, just let it slide.
Yeah.
Okay? Like here's an example of something that gets really convoluted. Like Peter King today repeated, and that's all he did was he repeated that thing about the Steelers moving up to number 9 with the Bears. And he even called it a rumor. He acknowledged that he did no independent reporting on this. He just said, here's a fun rumor. Okay. So everyone goes, oh, Peter King says it. That's it. Steelers are moving up to no, they're actually not. They're actually not. Peter King has his own sources. And if Peter King had reported that, he would have just said, I reported it. Gene says, hey, Bone, what about DeMarvin Leal moving to the edge? What do you think of that? Mike Tomlin had him there. He has some time there at Texas A&M, but he's also 6'4", 294.
Exactly. I think you'll see him in some heavy sets or in spots or in certain packages. Him being an outside rusher like Alex Highsmith or TJ, not the case. Now, again, Cam's listed as a D tackle, but Cam plays DN in some fronts too. So I see DeMarvin Leal being a hybrid type of defender. The best thing he can do is be able to stop the run while getting after the quarterback. Yeah. You cannot be one-dimensional in today's game. That's why going after nose tackle early, you need a real strong hybrid. Give me a guy, Javon Hargraves, okay? That's your prototypical nose tackle in today's football, is a guy that can stop the run on the way to the quarterback, that specializes in getting you about 7 to 9 sacks a year at that position.
Mm-hmm. Rodney just has to know, hey, Mo, filet, New York strip, or porterhouse?
This is very interesting. As I just
ribeye off the list.
Grill. I know ribeye is on there. I just did a tri-tip, okay, right before I did this show, okay, for my prep. But I'll say this. I love a ribeye, okay? But it's super fatty for the diet that I'm doing right now. Best flavor. New York strip is moving up. As it stands currently, I'm filet, New York strip, and probably ribeye after that if I'm having a cheat day.
What does that mean?
Hey, look, my wife loves the ribeye. Okay, I'm like, hey, Keish, let me get a piece of that real quick. I love the ribeye.
Oh no, Paul says that Buda Baker wants too much. Have you ever seen the NFL Films footage of your head coach on the sideline?
I heard it in the meetings before he even said that.
It's the best. It is the best. The funniest part is there's a player standing there. By the way, we can't show it here. Okay, you guys have to go find it. Just search Mike Tomlin and Buda Baker. It's so worth it. Buda Baker's a bad blank, blank, blank. I'm telling you, he is got to get a hat on him. He is a bad blank, blank, blank. And the funniest thing is he's doing this rant, and there's like one special teams dude hanging nearby. There's nobody even hearing him.
Yeah. Like, I'll be honest, Coach T have his loves in the league, and Buda Baker is one of those dudes. You hear me? Absolutely love. Carlos Dunlap, one of those dudes, man. Chris Jones from Kansas City, one of those dudes. Like, it's okay to be fans of other players on other teams. And I'll say this, Coach Tomlin doesn't hold back on letting guys know, hey, you a bad man. He told us about Buda Baker and his draft process and all things necessary about Buda before the entire NFL does. When I tell you this guy is a geek about knowing the game, appreciating the game, and I think we were set at safety and all that type of stuff anyway. Okay, or you looking to steal Buda later? But he's an aficionado of all things NFL, man. It was real cool to watch.
Now that is he has, and he'll tell guys, who was it from the Washington Commanders that he was chasing out onto the field, basically telling him how much he loved him.
Collins? Was it Collins?
It was a defensive lineman.
Chase Young.
It was Chase Young. We had you. We loved you. Da, 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 da. Like, all this stuff would actually look like borderline tampering if it wasn't him, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's out there telling them, man, we thought you were the greatest in our draft room.
Yeah, and I'm hoping Chase gets healthy, but I'll tell you this, if he doesn't and they don't pick us the fifth-year option, Mike T's going to be on the horn to try to get him in Pittsburgh.
Right after Buda Baker. Zach says, what do you miss, Ramon, the most from being in the National Football League?
Easily the locker room, the camaraderie.
Oh, God, everybody says that.
Easily.
There are no exceptions to this. Every sport, every team, every athlete has that answer. Why is that?
Because there's nothing like it. I talked to this weekend. I went to Knoxville for our orange and white game at UC. Thomas Davis is there with his boys, right? Mm-hmm. They're being recruited. And I asked TD, I'm like, TD, great player, right? TD, you miss it? No, hell no, man. I miss the locker room. Like, every player that kind of fulfilled their duties of like playing extended amount of time, wasn't really pushed out, had the opportunity to retire. Like, I'll say this, he said 3 straight ACLs. I was an undrafted guy that made it to 11 years. Like, the appreciation of how you got to the end of the journey, I think for guys is where you settle in and saying, yeah, I'm okay. I'm good on playing any more football. But there's nothing like the locker room, DK. You talk who you want to, they become your second family, and everybody's like-minded. I think that's why, from the coaches, owners, to players, like, everybody's like-minded. And I think that's why it's such an attraction to it.
Yeah, I'll say it again. There are no exceptions to this. This would have been kind of rude, but I was actually going to mouth over your response, even though I've never heard you ask that question, because the part that people don't understand is the amount of time that you guys spend around each other. They will tune in on Sundays, at 12:30. Here's the pregame show and whatever else here. You come running out of the tunnel. That's when they see you.
Yeah.
That's when they see you and they think, when they're high-fiving each other or elbow bumping or whatever on the sideline, that's their camaraderie. No.
It is all day in the building after practice is done, text message threads inside the locker room. Like, all my guys saw my kids grow up, like, that's how close it is. So it's more than just a game.
Mm-hmm. We get this one so much, but every once in a while, I keep wondering if you're going to give a different answer other than Geno Atkins. Real Isaiah Dennison says, hey, Moan, who was your biggest challenge to face in the National Football League?
Geno and Haloti Ngata, easily. I throw Malik Jackson in there, too, when he was with Denver and with the Jaguars, because I tell us, I always had issues with long arm guys, because I have such a long arm length also, that he was able to get his arms in a little bit more than other guys, and he was quick enough to get around the edge. Geno, because of his leverage, he can just get underneath your pads, and Haloti Ngata, because why? I mean, come on.
He's just a monster.
He's freaking Haloti Ngata, man.
You say the same thing about Calais Campbell. You're just talking about monsters.
And Calais, I talked to Bud about him because now Calais and Bud are now teammates in Atlanta.
Oh,
yeah. He signed there for 1 year also. They're trying to really jump up and get some stuff going this year, it seems.
Yeah, they've got work to do.
Yeah, they do offensively. You see me?
They got nothing going on the offensive side at all. We'll see how that pans out for them as far as the draft goes. Hanover Fist says, I can't wait for draft day. When does camp start? Depends on your definition of camp. Rookie mini camp is 2 weeks after. That means the draft picks come in. That means the undrafted free agents, they are all by themselves in that setting. Then after that, you've got OTAs. It's only about a week later, not the public part, but the part that's behind the scenes. 3 different OTA sessions, mandatory mini camp, and then Latrobe is, of course, in the 3rd week of July. Chad says, "Hey Moan, who's your celebrity crush?"
Who would that be? Nobody's coming off top right now. I'm so embedded in my kids and life stuff. I don't even got a clue right now. Who would it be? That caught me off guard. I didn't expect that one right there. I'll come back to you on that one.
We'll skip that. Al be quirky, who has to get one in, says, "Hey, Moan, the NFL draft and the NFL mock draft 2024 is next week." That's a really good way of looking at it.
Right around the corner. I'm telling you. And right now, I couldn't tell you anything about these quarterbacks that's coming out next year, but I guarantee you they're going to be the headliner next year coming out. Hey, this quarterback's the greatest in the world. I think Caleb Williams from USC will probably be on that list, though.
Slim isn't letting you wriggle off the hook on this one. Says, "Hey, Moan, just wondering if the draft was tomorrow and you were the Steelers GM, would you stay put at 17 or would you try to move up or back in the draft?"
I think I'm staying put.
Yeah.
For this reason. I got a second. I'm doing air quotation marks if you listen to us on the podcast. I got a second first rounder at 32. So, we're really tapping in this year. This is a big foundation draft for us as Steeler fans this year, man. You cannot – Beyonce, easily. Pittsburgh. Yeah, Beyonce is a celebrity crush, and everybody knows that too. With that being said, having the 17th and 32nd draft pick, that's a luxury. You get an opportunity to really bang it out with that one.
Yeah, Wade says NFC South games might be fun to watch. No, they won't.
Yeah, no, baby, no. Well, I will say this: Bud did look at it and say we could really win the NFC South. You got to be opportunistic.
I mean, that's a low bar, but okay,
of course.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you know you can win a division, you know you're going to be in the playoffs, and you have a chance to be in.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt about it. Mario.
Yeah, Mike Bobrowski says, "Hey, Moan, all the talk of draft choices, but how does the process work for matching undrafted guys with an NFL team? It seems it happens lightning fast after the draft ends." I'd love to hear this one because how long did it take you to sign with Pittsburgh? It was the same day, right?
Not even 20 minutes. Okay,
that's absolute. How
you ain't got hours to decide because they're probably already calling your agent, and I never asked my old agent, and I ended up switching agents after my first year. That was crazy. But what
sounds like a story for another day. By the way, I'm marking that down. Okay.
Belief, man. But it happens so fast, and it's like every team that you thought had interest in you actually does, and they'll let you know we're calling someone else. So the biggest discussion that you're going to have: which team, how much money, who's on the roster. Those were the biggest conversations I have. Okay, Pittsburgh, Jets, Cleveland, numerous other teams, right? And then how much money? You can be my what is it? My exclusive free agent. You can get that priority free agent. I was that in Pittsburgh. I wasn't there with the Browns, and the Jets actually were going to make me a priority free agent also. Hearing that was a green light for me. Okay, I'm more important than just an undrafted guy. Thing was, New York offered me $16,000. Cleveland offered me $2,000. Cleveland recruited me the hardest, though, to try to get me to come there. And Pittsburgh just made the most sense at the end.
Did you just say $2,000?
Yeah, $2,500.
They recruited you the hardest, and then they were just going to basically give you the equivalent of a week's pay.
Says a lot about them, right? Says a lot about them. And we'll get into that story as we talk about post-draft stuff.
Yeah, we will.
With how that works, man. But I looked at the taxes in New York, and Pittsburgh signing bonus is going to be essentially the same after taxes were done. Yeah, it's a pretty wild. You got about 20, 30 minutes to decide where you're going, DK. Listeners, I forget who asked that question.
I've never heard this. That's crazy.
It's fast.
But the list that the Steelers put out is like, it's almost as fast. Here's our UDAs.
And just being real, some guys are fans of it. As far as like deciding where they want to go, Pittsburgh seems cool. Like I asked my agent who's on roster, and one of the best things he told me, Pittsburgh's the land of opportunity, Mon. They really like you, and you got a shot to make that opening day roster. Good, sign me up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Michael Stenberg comes in with, should there be any concern with how Pat Freiermuth will play this coming season after his knee injury? For anybody who forgot, that happened in the last game, okay? But for anybody who missed this part, he did not require any sort of procedure. He didn't require any sort of surgical procedure. So that in and of itself should tell you all that you need to know. The knee was and is stable. Now, does that mean he's going to be flying around at OTAs and everything else here? I would certainly hope not. But the fact that any doctor anywhere will tell you regarding any body part, if you can avoid surgery, avoid it.
Avoid it. Yes.
Okay? I'm sure you heard that how many times, Moan?
Numerous. It's such a setback with them cutting through your muscles and going into your tendons and stuff like that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants surgery. Pat coming in is a non-factor to me. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I do too.
And also maybe on the line to getting the deal done too, considering Jalen Hurts' situation that broke today. He's going into year 3.
I'll tell you what, the idea here, and Chris brings it up himself. He says, "Hey, Moan, your thoughts on Jalen Hurts' contract, especially players who show flashes of greatness but haven't sustained it or won." I know what Ben Roethlisberger would have to say on this subject.
Oh my gosh, give him time. But Philly's done this before though with Carson Wentz. I'm hoping it doesn't backfire. And Jalen Hurts is who you want him to be as far as the quarterback, and I think he is, man. But this is what they did. They knew they didn't have the 5th round option. So him even going to the end of that 3rd year was just going to raise his stock. But I'll say this, the psychological aspect of having your franchise quarterback being locked up is way different than any other position. I mentioned Pat Freiermuth getting paid earlier, but this is the thing. He doesn't play quarterback. Everybody excluding the quarterback pretty much has to grind it out. They do. But you ease over the mentality of a quarterback to where he doesn't have to look over his shoulder. He knows if he gets injured, he can stay locked in and committed to you also. But then there's also this side of it too. You pay somebody that early, DK, because you want it to be more team friendly for you too.
Yep. That's exactly it. I mean, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, but what it also does, it overcomplicates what's going on in Baltimore. Lamar Jackson took another knock today. Other than the fact that he may get $180 million guaranteed, nobody for a while, I don't know who's it going to be, is going to see Deshaun Watson guarantee. I don't even think Joe Burrow is going to see that.
Now, this is, I'm telling you, this is the next thing that's going to come up in the labor agreement. Mark my words. You can't pick on a position, so you can't have a quarterback cap. I believe that. And I believe that that's something that the NFL union.
About that, DK.
Which, with all due respect, is the weakest union in professional sports. I'm saying that on the same screen as somebody who was a rep.
We told them that. You got to separate the quarterback salary from the rest of the team because we take a hit because of it, DK.
Right, but you can do that one of two ways, I think, legally, without turning this into a whole discussion. One is to just take the quarterback and set it all the way over here, okay? Another one, and this is something that both the NHL and the NBA have in their cap systems, which is to have an individual max, regardless of position, okay? If you have a prime of his life, Troy Polamalu, and he is considered by everybody to be the best and most valuable player in the National Football League, and you want to pay him whatever it is, $40 million, then that's your max guy.
Yeah.
That's your max guy. It doesn't have to – if you're the Falcons, the 2022 Falcons, you should not be paying your quarterback at a quarterback rate, at a quarterback max rate, but you should have the ability to max somebody out. And the NFL doesn't have that, and until it does, you're going to see a greater – did you see what Jalen Hurts' breakdown is per year?
I didn't look at it. Well, I saw he can get up to about 51.
51.
Yeah,
it's 51
a year.
Now, if you're the Eagles, the rest of the Eagles, your run is over.
Yeah.
You are done. You have had your fun. You just watched Javon Hargrave walk out the door, and he's not the only one that did. There was a run on there, guys.
Yes, it was.
And that's so. I don't know if you're and like you said, just from the player standpoint, there's less money for the rest of you.
It is, man. It's gonna be very interesting moving forward. Like I saw somebody just comment a second ago. Yeah, I do think Joe Burrow's gonna get more. What I said is I don't know if Joe Burrow's gonna touch Deshaun Watson's guarantee, meaning full guarantee. Now, I'll say this: Joe Burrow can go sign for $200 million guaranteed, $200 million deal, $200 million guaranteed. But I don't think he's gonna get $245. I will think he's going to reset it, but I don't know if he's going to 245 or 254, whichever one it was. Whew, tough.
Yeah, we'll see. I really think this is coming to a head because at some point you can't just keep having every next quarterback one up the one before him and operate with the same existing salary cap, and the owners aren't about to raise the cap to accommodate that because that's just not how.
And to that point too, not every owner is rich. They are, but a lot of them have money because of the valuation of the team. Not individual wealth. No, there are probably some minority owners that are invested in certain teams that have more money than the actual majority owners,
including Pittsburgh.
Okay,
including Pittsburgh.
So there's that. There we go.
Dr. Shadow wants to know if Pittsburgh will ever host a Super Bowl.
You take this one because I say no. I say no, but go ahead.
Well, I also say no because only because the NFL is stubborn about it, and I believe that the Rooneys don't fight for it hard enough.
If they did, being a first family, you think they would?
Yes. Okay. I mean, yes, 100 times over. When you're talking about, the first families, when you're talking about the Maras and the Rooneys, yes. Okay. But you have to believe in it. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, of course, you'd have to do things to Acrisure Stadium. You'd have to. I'm not talking about a dome, or you didn't have to have a dome over MetLife Stadium to have a Super Bowl, and nobody died.
Right.
We have more than enough hotels. We have more hotels than we've ever had. We held a G20 summit here globally.
The
whole planet came in. We can handle anything. It's just a matter of having the will to fight for it. And I believe it's something that the Rooneys should. I don't believe that they will, however, here. Run says traffic would be gridlocked for a month. Oh, and it isn't in the other places it's held? How is Pittsburgh traffic unique?
Yeah.
I mean, how would you get from the hotel to the stadium? We have a subway, right? It goes under the river.
That's true, too.
And by the way, we also have NFL games that are held here with the same number of people in the stadium.
That's fair.
This facility ain't Super Bowl ready. It would need a little bit of help. It wouldn't
need much. It does. A little bit of help, definitely. They should go in and redo that regardless, DK. They should.
Yeah, they should. But the press facilities and everything else they can handle. And trust me, I've seen some of the press facilities for the venues that have held Super Bowls. And
I'll say this.
Pittsburgh's is just fine.
Tampa's is trash.
Yes.
Okay? It is. I don't know what weather's how they keep getting it. Tampa's their stadium where players, a visiting team visit, which is also home of the Super Bowl too, like for the visiting locker room, it sucks. It does, period. Yeah, so you're right about that. We're not the worst in the league for it.
Yeah, Justin says starting with the turf. Did you have an issue with the turf?
I never did. I'll be honest with you. I never did. But again, I wasn't a fast running dude. I wasn't a skill guy. Some skilled guys probably may have had issues with it and whatnot, but it would have to be completely together by the time the Super Bowl came around. And I'll say this too.
Go ahead.
In New York, they have turf, so there is that aspect of it too.
And which is recognized as the worst, most dangerous turf in the National Football League, but they put the Super Bowl there.
They did.
Just throwing that out there. The tunnels would need to be widened. Oh, you mean the Fort Pitt tunnels? No, they wouldn't. Almost had me there.
Yeah,
almost had me there. Yeah. Hanover Fist says, let's win a Super Bowl and then have this conversation in earnest.
That's fair. I'm with you.
I'm okay with that one here. Let's take just a couple more today. Paul says, would a guaranteed cap help? Maybe scale to something like you can't guarantee more than the next highest player's salary. Yeah, the word guarantee right off the bat is a non-starter for the owners.
Yeah, I'm going to say this too about the guaranteed aspect of it, though, too, DK.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put on my union hat real quick. That to me, the guarantee side, that you cap players and how much they can earn, but you don't cap the owners and what they can earn. That's the biggest pushback I'll ever have about that. Why do the players have to be capped? I know the business structure and the salary cap, and screw all that. The owners aren't. We saw a dude buy a team for $800 million and sold it for $6.5 billion or whatever it was, $6 billion, $50 million. Like, come on. What are we doing here? Nobody capped that for him.
One of the things that was funny was that the Steelers and the NFL and everybody reached the last labor agreement. And do you remember how it was almost immediately after the labor agreement that the NFL announced all these fabulous news?
Yeah. Come on.
Hey, everybody, by the way, ton more money coming in.
You get one. You get a TV subscription. Everybody got one, DK.
That's good stuff here.
Oh, I got one too. Yeah, I like that one. I saw that. That's what Cleveland offered me. $2,000 in powdered eggs, man.
Powdered eggs, baby.
This one from Kevin Sala. Hey, Mon, what was the highest round you heard you could go? Legitimately, I heard from 3 to 5. And you know what? That paper somewhere in here. Pittsburgh actually had me 3 to 5. Other teams did too.
Do you ever ask, though, hang on a second. If you guys had me in the 3rd round, what was I doing sitting here?
Well, see, here's the other portion of it too, though, DK. That line was pretty much set with youth at the time, so they had room for one. Okay? Legitimately. Willie was there. Well, he's playing tackle. Chris Kimimatu was there. Trey Essex was a swing guy for the most part. Darnell was a Stapleton was a swing young guy that was expected to do a lot, and his knees ended up getting him later in his career. So they ended up picking up one guy that could be a combo. It was between me and Craig Urbick. They went with Craig because he came from Wisconsin, and his 40 time was just slightly faster than mine. So, again, beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
But do you ask? Did you ask at any point? You had a 3rd round grade on me. What was I doing sitting here?
They gave me that. Yeah. Hey, you know what? It is what it is. But, yeah, you're right. I never directly asked that question, though.
Huh. That'd be tough. I can try what that context would be. Hey, Kevin, by the way, you got a minute?
I can ask him now. I could.
You know, it's like,
yeah.
You should have seen me. I was like squirming all over the couch. And then eventually I slithered right off the couch onto the floor. And I had my face down in the pillows.
That's exactly how we went. Started off on the couch, got more relaxed on the floor, and it's just like layout, like,
last one for the day goes to Michael O'Malley III. Not to be confused with the other 2 Michael O'Malleys. He asks, hey, Moan, do you think Omar drafts an edge rusher at 32? Why 32? I'm curious. Why can't we just say 17 or 49? Why 32?
I know. I'll say this. I think Bud's not re-signing in Pittsburgh lends the fact that you know where you're going in the draft. I'd almost expect them to go that route. I'd almost guess they go defense the first 2 rounds, first 2 picks, easily.
That wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, I think they go defense the first 2 picks. Michael O'Malley, M-O-M, the 3rd.
Yeah,
that's just the way I see it.
You need to start moving some of that youth to the other side of the football.
Yeah,
there's no way around that. Listen, we appreciate everybody who's been part of this rather spirited program today.
It has been. We hit a lot of things today, and we're just getting started. I mean, guys are reporting right now. This is going to be it's just now starting to heat up again, DK.
No, it's going to be fun here. We're 10 days away from the NFL draft. We do have some fun stuff in store for you once we get to the actual draft. We know how much you're going to value, how much this gentleman over here to my side is going to have to say about some of the stuff. So we'll be on before each of the main days, the 3 days, and really, really pour it on. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Looking forward to it, baby. Let's go, DK. Fun times, dog.
Mm-hmm. What? I forgot what that was. It looks like a cat.
It's a lion with a crown.
Oh, I see. Well, lions are cats. That's kind of something, right?
It is.